Around the world, governments are policing speech in the market to arrest instances in which therapeutic claims of disease risk reduction, prevention, and treatment, are made for foods and food elements. None of those governments considers it necessary to prove the falsity of the claims before they suppress them. It is enough under the domestic laws of each nation to prove that the claims have been made. Truth is no defense. The consequences for the offenders are not simply civil, they are criminal. To make a claim that a product treats disease and not secure government pre-approval for sale of the product as a drug, an enterprise that from beginning to end costs on average about $600 million or more, is universally a crime. Offenders can be sentenced to prison, indeed for terms that can be the equivalent of a life sentence, and products can be enjoined from sale, seized, and destroyed. The systems of prior restraint operating worldwide are destroying freedom of informed choice for consumers. Truthful statements of the potential of a nutrient to affect disease are drummed out of the world market by speech police in favor of government orthodoxies said to represent conclusive science when, in truth, science is never conclusive. It is always evolutionary, subject to debate. The system arising from this global censorship is one intolerant of any unorthodox view, of any emerging science. It is highly paternalistic. It views the consumer as an unthinking recipient of information who, without the government's interference, will believe everything said. Consumers are thus conceived as incapable of weighing responsibly the potential of a food element to affect disease. In short, governmental assumptions about consumers proceed from the absurd notion that substances commonly consumed in the food supply become inherently dangerous if accompanied by truthful statements about their potential to affect health and disease. In this brave new world of speech police and censorship, government is an unavoidable presence. Although the clear majority of nutrition science lies on a continuum between a bare hypothesis and conclusive proof, with the latter virtually never attained, governments worldwide believe no one should receive science in the market unless it is first deemed conclusive by the state and accepted as orthodox, an exceedingly rare circumstance. The environment created is one in which therapeutic claims exist for government-approved drugs, but largely do not exist for natural elements in the food supply, food supplements, and foods. This artificially distorts consumer understanding of the biological significance of food and encourages the harmful misimpression that drugs alone provide means to reduce the incidence of, or to treat, disease. We have a basic human right not to be denied access by government to information about what a food or an element in food may do to our health. We have a right to know of emerging science concerning the role of that food or food element in health and disease. We have a right not to be barred by government from participating in the evolution of the debate over the physiological effects of nutrition because we, necessarily, are the human subjects in this ongoing experiment. In this volume, I explain the origins of our rights to freedom of speech. I explain that those rights embrace the right to publish and receive in the commercial market information concerning the actual and potential effects of foods and food ingredients on human health and disease without government interference. I then explain how governments have imposed prior restraints on this speech, not unlike those imposed by the dreaded courts of Star Chamber and the King's Stationer in England between the 13th and 17th centuries. Suppressing nutrient disease information, the prior restraints lock consumers out of the debate concerning the potential of nutrients to affect their health and disease, keeping them largely ignorant of the science until a government science orthodoxy is proclaimed. They disable consumers in the market by keeping from them the vital information upon which they could otherwise make more informed food and supplementation choices. Dire consequences attend to this censorship. For example, over 4 years, the Food and Drug Administration prohibited American consumers from receiving information at the point of sale concerning the potential of folic acid to reduce the incidence of neural tube defect births. An estimated 2,500 preventable neural tube defect births and countless NTD-related abortions occurred each of these years that censorship